Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Gene Joke here, share with you my post-showcase thoughts. So I've actually known about the Roguecraft DX cart for a week or so now. It actually did leak, but pretty much no one noticed it. I believe I was one of the few that noticed it. And everyone pretty much kept quiet up until a few hours before the showcase when it leaked elsewhere. This is a game I've been hoping would come to Evercade, be it as part of a Home Computer Heroes or as a solo cart. The fact that they've expanded on it for this DX version, which is apparently exclusive to the Evercade or has been done specifically for the Evercade, I think that's great. As far as I'm aware, the Amiga version, they have released patches for it to add extra features, but I think there is even more for this one. But I think more information that will be coming in the coming weeks. As a fan of Rogue 64 and Sword of Fargoal and essentially of roguelike games, this one is right up my street. Also being a big fan of the Amiga, doubly so. When it was announced, I did see a few comments saying there should be more games on the cart, and I do understand the logic there. I mean, we've only had one solo cart so far with Full Void, and most carts are more games. However, this being an indie game and a recent one, well, it's not like it's a retro game that's been out for years, that's made loads of money already. This is an indie game that's essentially still a commercial product, so I can understand why they'd want to make sure they that it's commercially viable. And if I recall correctly, the big box Amiga version you could buy was more expensive than the Evercade cart, so I do think it still represents good value for money, especially as a game like this. If it's like Rogue 64, which essentially it's an expanded remake of, then it's going to have plenty of gameplay value and length in there. So yeah, really happy with this and looking forward to playing it. So the Alpha, the Taito Alpha, that I did see a leak earlier today, and I have been thinking about getting an Alpha. I don't really need one, and I know I probably won't use it that much. It'll be more of a novelty and a showpiece. I have been tempted to get one, and to be perfectly honest, being able to play Rastan on it would be quite cool, which was great up until they announced the Taito arcade carts. So I'm in two minds about getting the Taito Alpha. I mean, it didn't really sort of show a full games list on the thing, and I haven't seen one yet. Perhaps I should have a look again in a minute, but I didn't see one when I went looking a moment ago. So I went and looked, and the games built into the Taito Alpha are Bubble Bobble, Kadash, Elevator Action, Fairyland Story, Growl, Legend of Kage, the New Zealand Story, Puzzle Bobble, Rastan and Space Invaders. So they're all available on carts, I believe. I think Kadash wasn't, maybe Puzzle Bobble, but most of them are, so not really enough to tempt me to get the Alpha over the carts, but we shall see. Well, no, it's not enough to tempt me. There's no we shall see. I'll be getting the carts. But speaking of the carts, the Taito arcade collections do look interesting. However, there is a lot of crossover with the Taito Super Pocket, but not being a huge handheld gamer, I'd much rather play them on the VS, so I'm happy with that. It's a shame there aren't more games exclusive to the carts, but there's still 9 games on the cart, and not everyone has a Super Pocket, so it's good. Unless you already have a Taito Super Pocket, then it might make that a little bit redundant. But again, do we really want games that are locked to the hardware? I think fewer games locked exclusively to hardware is a good thing. It's just a shame the carts didn't come out before the Super Pocket, but what can you do? So the games on the carts, on Taito Arcade Collection 1, you have Bubble Bobble, Space Invaders, Legend of Kage, Growl, Don Doki Don, Chack and Pop, Pirate Pete, Ray Maze and Colony 7. Now most of these are on the Super Pocket, as I mentioned, with Pirate Pete, Ray Maze and Colony 7 being new. I don't know these games at all, I know nothing about them. To be perfectly honest, none of them look particularly amazing, but the collection for me, well, Bubble Bobble, Growl, yeah, they definitely make it worth getting. I like some of the other games. I wouldn't say it's a killer collection, but it's solid enough. Taito Arcade Collection 2 has Operation Wolf, and Blades have confirmed that we will support mouse support, or will support the mouse, however you want to put it. So it won't just be controller based, so I think that'll be better. It also has New Zealand Story, Rastan Saga, Elevator Action, Liquid Kids, Kiki Kai Kai, Volfeed, Alpine Ski, and The Electric Yo-Yo. So only 2 exclusive games here, and I don't know anything about either of them. Alpine Ski doesn't really look like my cup of tea, but at least it's going up the screen rather than down the screen, because I hate it when you're going down the screen. The Electric Yo-Yo, was that a yo-yo based game? Okay, well, could be interesting. But Rastan, Liquid Kids, and using the story make it worthwhile. And Operation Wolf playing it with a mouse could be quite fun, and Elevator Action is a good fun game too. So yeah, really not much to complain about here. I think it's the stronger collection of the two, but maybe that's just because I really love the Rastan Saga. I'm really hoping there will be a third Taito Arcade collection, because I'd really like to see Rastan Saga 3 Warrior or Warrior Blade, whatever it's called, on a collection. I really like that beat 'em up. I mean, again, huge fan of fantasy and sword and sorcery and this sort of stuff. Even I'll get my words right, I can speak honest. But I suppose they should also include Rastan Saga 2, which, if you ever played the Mega Drive version, you know it sucks, and the arcade version really isn't much better, if any better at all. It still sucks. And there's no Chase HQ, so that would be another one, but I have heard there is some kind of issue with Chase HQ. It hasn't been re-released in a long time or something. Don't know the reasoning, but again, the Chase HQ games would be fantastic. And of course, the other carts announced were the Neo Geo collections, Neo Geo Arcade 2 and 3. So let's just go through those quickly. Neo Geo Arcade Collection 2 has Garou Mark of the Wolves, which is a fantastic fighting game. Art of Fighting 2, which I've never played before. I did play the original Art of Fighting, it's pretty solid. Metal Slug 2. Well, I mean, what I've played the Metal Slug games, they've been great, and then people rave about them, so yeah, we're up there for that. Cross Swords, I really don't know much about, but it looks quite different, it could be interesting. Sengoku 2, I haven't played, but the first one was pretty good, and what I've played of 3 is pretty good as well. And Ninja Commando, which I haven't played before, but actually no, I have played this. I played it through MAME at one point, and I thought it was quite fun. I don't remember being blown away by it, but again, a pretty solid collection. Definitely some fantastic games there. And then we have Neo Geo Arcade Collection 3, which has King of Fighters 97, which I assume is still very good. But again, we've got the other one on the upcoming Neo Geo Collection 1, so I know it's not the same game, but I don't know how different they are. But again, I'm sure it's very good. Metal Slug 3, same sort of thing, I'm sure it's very good. Samurai Showdown 2, very pleased to see that. Twinkle Star Sprites, I know nothing about, looks like a cute 'em up. So yeah, could be quite fun. Ghost Pilots is pretty decent, so up here for that. And Super Sidekicks, well, I'm not a football fan or a sports game fan, but hey, you know, maybe it's a good one. So 2 solid Neo Geo collections there, and nothing disappointing on them. I am curious to see how different King of Fighters 97 is from 2000, whether there's, you know, different characters or moves or what have you. But I'm glad we're getting multiples of the various series on these collections. It would be a shame if there were, you know, too many were left out. But it does seem there's a number of games which are absent, so hopefully that will be remedied, you know, next year when they inevitably release more Neo Geo Arcade collections. So in other news, they have mentioned that there is a firmware update dropping tomorrow, which will have 2 new secret games. One is sent out via a code you'll get via email, and the other one they haven't revealed how you'll get it. The game they have mentioned is like an RPG text adventure thing for the Sega Game Gear, so that'll be interesting. Not sure what it's going to be like, but hey, it's free. They have mentioned there will be more games added or given mouse support, including Alien Brigade from the Atari Collection 2, or was it Atari Collection 1? Atari Collection 1, wasn't it? And they've announced that there will be some games, or more games will have extra player support, like Street Racer from the Pico Collection 4, which originally supported up to 4 players, has previously only supported 2 players on the Evercade, but after this update it will support up to 4 players, and other games are mentioned as well. The firmware also allows for custom light bar on your VS and what have you, so yeah, that's a thing. I don't know if I'll really use it, but yeah, if you like changing it from red to green, blue or what have you, yeah, I'm sure that'd be cool. And they're reintroducing the classic intro from the original Evercade. I wasn't on the Evercade train back then, so I've only seen it via YouTube, but hey, that's cool, I guess. I mean, my thoughts on much of these will come about when I've actually, you know, had a chance to fiddle with them and play with them. This is just a fairly quick video of my thoughts on the showcase. So overall, I think it's been quite a good showcase, but perhaps not quite as exciting as I might have hoped, but I do tend to keep my expectations in check. It was more arcade heavy than I expected. I was honestly only expecting one more Neo Geo cart to be announced, and maybe something else like Atari Arcade, or maybe another IRM collection. I certainly didn't expect Taito collections. But these are welcome things, although it's getting to the point where I hope that the other 3 carts that will be announced later in the year, I hope none of those are arcade collections. You can't have too much of a good thing. And with these carts, Roguecraft aside, everything else is sort of big known quantities, or largely known quantities. It would be nice to have some more obscure titles and maybe some more indie. But anyway, I think I've gone on long enough for today. I'm sure a lot of this will sink in, and I'll have a look at this firmware tomorrow and see what's what. But yeah, for the most part I am happy and interested in everything that's coming up, so all in all I think it's been a pretty successful showcase. Anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.